Get your reactions ready. The live portion of the show will begin in just a moment.
High drive, left field, going back to Rosarena, turning, looking, see ya!
Today is Friday, May 5th. It's Cinco de Mayo, and the Yankees kicked off a weekend set with the red-hot first-place Tampa Bay Rays in Tampa. It's a crucial series under the catwalks. My recap and your reactions coming up next. This is NYY Recaps.
Welcome to Yankee Stadium.
Just when they thought I was out, they pull me back in.
If you follow this podcast, by now you've heard of Game Time. It's the fastest growing ticket app in the world for a reason. What Game Time is an app that allows you to buy last-minute tickets to local events at the lowest rate possible. So let's say the Yankees have an off night and you decide, hey, I want to go catch a comedy show. I want to go see a band play. I want to go see a hockey game. You just hop on the Game Time app and you can get a really good deal very quickly and save a lot of money. Use the code NYY Recaps to save even more money because you'll get $20 off your first purchase. I recently used it. I try not to have ads for anything that I don't endorse personally, and I gotta say, it's a great experience. It's very simple to use. Use the code NYY Recaps on the Game Time app and get the lowest price on last-minute tickets guaranteed. How's it going, everybody? Welcome back. Tough loss. I don't know what we expected. Rays are red hot. Yankees are depleted with a lot of injuries right now. Maybe with Judge and Stanton, that's a different game. But unfortunately, the Yankees dropped this one, and they have fallen 10 games out of first place, and it's only May 5th. So it is not what you want. So for those of you who joined the pregame, my apologies for the audio issues. We got all that sorted out now. There was a problem with my headphones, and then, I took them off, and the sound was going through another speaker, which was muted, and it was just a disaster. So technical stuff happens sometimes, happened 2 or 3 times in the history of this channel, but it is what it is. Before the game, we found out that Carlos Rodon is going to be out for a little bit longer. They're saying that his back injury is being considered chronic by his doctors. I don't necessarily think that's as horrible thing as everybody's saying it is. It's not like he needs spinal surgery or something. He's probably got a little bit of arthritis. He's probably going to have to get the occasional cortisone injection or, like Rizzo, an epidural once in a while. I'm seeing a lot of people crushing Cashman for this, and believe me, I crush Cashman on a lot of things, but this is not something that he could have seen. It took an MRI, an X-ray, and I believe a CT scan to find this thing. So, I think this is more on Rodon for not saying anything if he felt something. But in his pregame interview, he essentially said that he wanted to pitch, and they're not allowing him to throw until after he gets this cortisone shot, which for some reason they're waiting until next week to do it. I would have just had it done today if I were him. Go to the doctor right now. A cortisone shot is not a super complicated thing. Just got to make sure that you get the right spot. So they probably want to go see a specialist to make sure, in fact, that they do get the right spot. Peraza was out of the lineup again today. Not on the injured list, but clearly unavailable. There were multiple spots in this game where you could have pinch hit him, and the Yankees chose not to. But I guess the X-rays were fine. We did get Harrison Bader back tonight, and he brought the lumber. Harrison Bader's a good ball player. It'd be interesting to see if they choose to re-sign him if he has a good rest of the season. It depends, I guess, on what the Yankees do, on how Dominguez and Spencer Jones do in the minor leagues. Dominguez, last I checked, was 0 for 3 tonight, but walking at an incredible rate in Double-A. But eventually you're going to have to get some hits, too. They are experimenting with a new baseball down there, slightly tackier balls leading to lower batting averages and also, I believe, a lot more walks. So it's a really interesting situation. So we'll see how that turns out. So Yankees actually got off to a slow start tonight. They were down 4-0, and they looked very flat for the first 5 innings. Rays jumped on the board first with a solo home run from Randy Arozarena. He kind of did this pose thing when he got to third base. Don't think the Yankees liked it. He did get drilled twice more in the game after that. Looked like for a second there could be a brawl, but there was not. I don't know if there was any intent. I think the Yankees are trying to pitch him inside because he's a guy who likes to get extension. I just don't think that the command was there for the Yankees pitchers, which is not surprising. Not surprising at all. Rays got another run in the second, another couple of runs in the third, including a Yandy Diaz home run. Look, they're just a really good baseball team, and they're playing very well right now. You always see them tagging up on fly balls. They run hard on the bases. Everybody looks invested in the game. They're playing great team baseball, which is not something you could say for the Yankees. I know some people don't like when I compliment the opposition, but you can learn a lot. You can learn a lot by watching how good teams play. They have good at bats. They take pitches, but they also can be aggressive. They play good defense. Their pitchers throw a lot of ground balls. I like how much they tag up. I mean, they just play really solid baseball. So I think the Yankees should do more of that, but they're going to need their younger guys to get on base more. Volpe, every time he gets on base, he steals, but you need more than one guy who can create havoc on the bases. Also, they just hit better. They had 6 players tonight entering competition with batting averages over 300. Diaz, 324. Franco, 304. Arozarena, 328. Lowe, 326. Ramirez, 321. I mean, come on. Yankees didn't have any. Rizzo had the highest average on our team, 286. And I know a lot of Yankees fans and a lot of analytics people say, well, batting average doesn't matter. I get a lot of pushback on saying that it does matter. I've always thought that batting average was more important than they're letting on. You need guys who can make contact. You really do. And Dr. Hitskin says Rays GM has done a fantastic job. Really has. With that payroll, really has. Yankees had only 1 hit through the first 5 innings, so again, slow with the bats to start. They finally got a run in the 6th, single by Rizzo, and then a double by Gleyber Torres. That made it 4-1. Couple of batters later, Harrison Bader, the rare 3-run home run for the Yankees to tie the game. No word yet on how much they're going to fine Bader for hitting a home run with men on base. 436 feet, absolute no doubter.
From there on out, things just got worse.
Top 7, Anthony Volpe smoked a line drive single to right field with 2 outs. Then he stole second base. His 11th steal on the season to make it. He made it to third base on a bad throw, but 11 for 11 in steal attempts. That's pretty impressive. But the second one was not a steal. It's officially like an error on the bad throw. Bottom 7, Franco smoked one to left field rather, and Bowers couldn't reel it in. Probably should have been caught. 95% catch probability. He got the relay in quickly to Volpe, who threw a bullet home. Unfortunately, the tag was not applied by Trevino, and that made it 5-4 Rays. Look, Bowers got to catch that ball. Good outfielders standing under that ball, but we don't have good outfielders on this team. Barely have any outfielders on this team. Rhyme for Reason says, are you tired of seeing musical chairs in left field? Our lack of depth on the bench is quite evident. Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely tired of seeing it. Seeing guys out there who have just like no business playing the position.
I'm an average nobody.
Top 8, DJ singled and Kyle Higashioka picked up a clutch pinch hit double to put runners on second and third for Bader, but he popped out. And then IKF pinch hit, had a good at bat, but struck out on a bad pitch in the dirt to strand 2 runners in scoring position. And that's the difference between the Yankees and the Rays right there. Missed opportunities. Volpe picked up another hit in the 9th, so a multi-hit game for him. That raised his average up to 229. But Rizzo flied out to end the game, and the Rays defeat the Yankees.
I'm a loser.
Mission failed. We'll get them next time.
I still think with Judge and Stanton we win this game. But, I mean, you got to credit the Rays. They just play really, really solid baseball. Chris Rodriguez says, we need steroids. That's our only hope. Disgruntled YouTuber says, I didn't realize this game was going to be so close. All this false hope hurt a lot. Yeah, I wasn't expecting a close matchup. I was, not even really that surprised when it was 4-0 early. I was like, what were we expecting? Brito on the mound against a team that's 26-6 or whatnot. Missed opportunities with runners on base. That is the correct answer. Angry Thumb says, if you get more hits, you get more base runners, contact hitting. So the way the Yankees look at it, and the way a lot of teams look at it, is a base runner is a base runner. Doesn't matter if it's a hit or a walk. I disagree. I reject that premise completely. Not only the state of mind of the pitcher. Jack Curry I was reading his book, and he was talking about how El Duque didn't mind walking the bases loaded or whatever because he figured I can just get the next guy. If you're a pitcher and you walk somebody, you think, I can just get the next guy. But if you're giving up hits, you might be hesitant to throw that pitch in that situation again. You might be hesitant to throw that part of the plate. It opens up the eyes of the batters on the team you're pitching against. They start, there's this thing that hitting is contagious, right? You start to feel confident. Well, if that guy can get a hit, I can get a hit. Look what he did. He took that ball to right field. I'll try that, So, obviously the Yankees didn't get it done tonight, but, they've just got to figure out a way to get through this stretch where you've got pretty much the whole team injured, and you got to make a run in the second half. Unfortunately, you've got to find a way to beat the Rays now because you don't get to play them 19 times this year. Miguel Peralta says, I was already expecting this.
Absolutely. Hey.
Let's see here. 10 games back, unfortunately. So, yeah, it was it's been an awful April and May. 10 games back, not where you want to be, but there's plenty. We've seen 7-game, 8-game leads disappear like that. A couple years ago, we were leading the Jays by about 8 games in August, and it seemed like they came back right away. That was when the Jays were still really good before they got bad again, and now they're good again. Oh, man. Albert Jr. says the Rays are number 1 and the Yankees are number 2 in batting averaged against. The Yankees have the pitching. They just need a fieldable team. The pitching was not horrible tonight. Brito obviously was not great. He's got a 6.08 ERA. Unfortunately, just didn't get the job done offensively. As Jack said earlier, too many spots where you got runners on base and just couldn't make it happen. William M. says all these terrible contracts. There's a lot of big contracts. I mean, you have to think that if you could go back in time and have an opportunity to say yes or no to Stanton, even though he's done well in the playoffs, you probably say no. You probably sign Bryce Harper. That's what I would have done. I was all in for signing Bryce Harper anyway. Louis Penn says, you want another justifiable compliment for the opposing team? The Rays have a way better analytical team than the Yankees, and that is a fact. Thank you for the donor, Louis. Andy says, nice to see a good home crowd in Tropicana. Yeah, it was filled up. That's winning does that. And they have, I think, the 3rd or 4th lowest payroll in Major League Baseball, and yet they just keep winning. They just keep winning. All right, we're going to take a real quick look at the box score, but I want to also talk about Oswaldo Cabrera real quick. So tonight's lineup. We were in the middle of talking about this when we had some technical issues before. Oswaldo tonight was 0 for 4. He is hitting 188. He has got a 478 OPS. And I got to say, I mean, we're getting to the point where he might have to go to the minor leagues to get his confidence back. I've always liked him as a hitter. I like his left-handed swing, the classic low ball hitter from the left side. But this year he's just hitting everything on the ground. And I just feel like he needs to work it out somewhere. I still think he can hit, and I still think he will hit. But right now he's just in a rut, and everything he hits is on the damn ground. Unreal. All right, let's take a look at this box score here. Tonight's game. Ay. All right, close this out. So Volpe, multi-hit game. LeMahieu, multi-hit game, and a couple of walks on base 4 times. Bader, the 3-run home run. But other than that, not a lot from the Yankees offensively. Abreu, Hamilton, both look good out of the pen. Hamilton looks real good. Cordero, not sure why they went to Cordero there. I think, Michael Kay was onto something when he said, well, why don't you just go to King to start the inning? And he's right. They were just trying to steal outs with Cordero to avoid having to use King. But that's what happens when you manage scared. So, tough one. As John Brown says, tough one. MP says, horrible Rodon contract. Well, I mean, if he helps us win a World Series one of these next few years, maybe not. But, look, chronic back issues are a problem. Ask Don Mattingly. The one thing we have going for us is he doesn't have to play every single day like Don Mattingly did or like Anthony Rizzo does. He's got to feel well enough to pitch once every 5 days and occasionally get a start off maybe when his back is aching. But the fact that we're dealing with this when we just gave the guy $161 million, it's absolutely offensive. Anyway, YOLO says, Oswaldo is pulling everything. He needs to start punching singles the other way. He's tried that a few times. He's tried to drive the ball the other way. And what we've seen is that when he does that, he doesn't have the power to hit the ball out of the ballpark. So he ends up hitting a lot of long flyouts. We saw that early in the season. And so now he's gotten back into pull mode, and his launch angle's all screwed up because he's trying to pull outside pitches. He's trying to pull everything. And it's all just weak ground balls to the pull side. So it's not good. Joe S. says, fire Boone. It's the only way. At least 3 more wins if Boone wasn't the manager.
Bing.
Gotta say, I have to agree. James G. says, glad Michael King is on his fantasy team. So Michael King now sporting a 1.42 ERA. That's one thing we can console ourselves in is that he's been great. Now, if the Yankees fall out of it, right? They're 10 games out, so thinking that they might fall out of it by June or July is not an absurd thought, but it's something that we should face. So something that, I wouldn't mind seeing in the chat and definitely in the comments is who you think the Yankees have that they could trade to maybe stockpile some different players. Personally, I don't trust Brian Cashman to make any trades anymore. I forget who it was, but one of the radio guys said that he hasn't earned the right to rebuild this team because he's screwed it up every time he's tried. The only time he won on his own account is when he used all of Hal's money to go sign all the best free agents. That was 2009. So I'm not sure I even want him making the trades, but it's looking like you might have to. If you fall 15, 16 games out by July, you might have to unload some of these guys. Depending on the season that he's having, Gleyber Torres is an obvious choice. Not having a great year, but 745 OPS, you can get something for that. Last year, he was almost an all-star at second base. If he turns it on a little bit, you could probably get something for him. DJ LeMahieu, probably can't get a lot, but he's got a reasonable contract, so maybe. Harrison Bader, almost certainly. If you're not going to re-sign him, you could definitely move him. You could probably get something for Anthony Rizzo, but I think he's got a no-trade clause. You probably could trade Mike King if you wanted to. I think he's part of the solution long-term, but if somebody's looking for that high-end relief pitcher for the postseason, he's somebody you could consider. X-Wing says, Rodon looks cooked even now. It looks like Carl Pavano 2.0. I think we need more time on that. It could be just bad luck. He's saying he wants to pitch. Carl Pavano never said he wanted to pitch. Carl Pavano went and ran and hid. And George Steinbrenner used to have guys rehab in Tampa because he wanted to make sure that they weren't actually, just BSing and taking time off and taking forever to heal. He thought if he had to get up every morning and go to work at the stadium in Tampa and train, you might heal quicker. I think the Yankees should do that with Rodon. I think they should put him in Tampa, get some of your best coaches on with him and working with him every day to get better, and just begin treating him like a must-have. And I want to see that Bryce Harper mentality where he tries to get back there ahead of schedule. The Yankees don't ever seem to have one of those guys. Jack Arnold says, if you send Oswaldo to the minors, who you put in left field, not Hicks, Stanton out, who? So, I don't know. That's not my job. That's Brian Cashman's job. If he's not hitting, you can't keep running him out there. It looks like Bowers is going to play left field for a bit, and we know he can't catch right now. I mean, that was a horrible play tonight, but, he's hit the ball hard at least. If Judge comes back, I'd be perfectly fine with an outfield of Judge in right, Bader in center field, and then Bowers in left field, because at least he's a dangerous left-handed hitter. But right now, Oswaldo's not doing anything, and he's got to get his confidence back. Tabor says that Boone is visibly upset on the postgame. I've got to tune into that. Tim W. says it's way too early to start talking trade. Well, I mean, we're 10 games out. It's getting late early, in the words of, what's his name? The words of what's his name? Yogi. That's on me. David says, Hicks for a case of Bud Light. I'd be surprised if you could even get that much. Albert says, do we dare trade away more pitching? If you're going to start a rebuild, I mean, you might be able to get some prospects, right? You can trade Mike King and get like 2 or 3 pitching prospects, minor league prospects. I don't know. Doug says, DJ has 2 years left on his contract. He's a veteran, can play 3 infield positions, professional hitter. I thought he had longer than that on his contract. I thought he had another 3 years left, but I could be wrong. The years go by so quick now. Lori says, trade King for a left fielder, a real one. So we're hearing more and more about Dominguez, but he's still hitting 140-something. But Michael Kay was saying on his show today that he heard from somebody high up in the organization that you might see Dominguez this summer. I don't know. We'll see. Joe S. says Rizzo is 0 for 14 with runners in scoring position. It's not what you want. Parks and Young says the Yankees should have signed Bellinger. I agree with that 100%.
I wholeheartedly agree.
Frankie Baseball says, I'm glad on Cinco de Mayo this team gave me a reason to drink.
Game over, man. It's game over. We're going to get out of here.
Ron B says Hicks for a box of jawbreakers. And Estevez says we need King right now. I agree, we do need him right now, but I'm talking about if you fall out of it by 15, 20 games at the deadline. I mean, we're 10 games back. 10 games back. If you fall out of it and you get to the deadline, the smartest thing to do is to try and reorganize this roster. And if that happens, I'm going to be 100% on board with it. And Doug says, yes. DJ is signed through 2026. I told you, man. I told you.
Shut up, bitch.
I'm just kidding. Kevin says, raise one with Frankie. All right, guys. You guys have a wonderful Cinco de Mayo. Go get drunk. Have a wonderful time. Drive safe. We'll be back after tomorrow's game. If it doesn't go too late, I've got tickets to go see Guardians of the Galaxy at 8:30. So if they end up playing extra innings, I might have to cancel it. But I'm planning on doing one live tomorrow. But I will see you then. Adios.
Hey, everybody. If you've made it this far, we thank you. If you'd like to support NYY Recaps, please like and subscribe or pay a visit to our Shopify store for some great Yankees merch.
Yes.
If you're watching on YouTube, the link is in the description. But if you're listening to the audio version of this podcast, just visit NYYRecaps.shop. If you really want to support NYY Recaps and help keep the show going year after year, join up as a member. It's $5, and members get their names up in lights during each post-game show. We're also on all podcast platforms, Instagram, and Twitch this year. So give us a follow if you use any of those platforms. We're expanding, and we have you to thank for making this such a great community. We'll see you next time.
It is your destiny. Case closed.
Ball game over.
Most impressive.